Stories of Great Christians. We are bringing you transcribed from the radio studios of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, Chapter 4, in Beautiful Upon the Mountains, the story of John and Isobel Kuhn. Take him, boy. Feed him plenty. He's had a long, hard trip. Belle! Belle, I'm home.
Oh, young Mutsu.
Oh, hello, small pearl. Where's my wife?
Young Mutsu, you are home.
Say, where'd all this mud come from? The courtyard's a mess. What's happened around here?
Young Mutsu, flood water come out of the sky, down from the cloud, then up from river.
When?
7 long days passed. The river was full of angry water.
Well, it made one awful mess. Anything damaged? Besides mud, I mean?
There was no way for word to travel. News must wait for return of young Matsu.
What are you talking about? What happened?
Oh, young Matsu.
Belle?
Mother of your only daughter suffered great pain and loss, young Mutsu.
Kathy?
Small daughter happy and well, but, oh, young Mutsu, small daughter will have no baby brother.
Small Pearl has been such a help, John. I don't know what I'd have done without her.
Belle, if only I'd come back sooner. Just the night before it happened, a week ago Monday, I wandered about cutting through the eastern pass and coming down that northern canyon. Oh, why didn't I come sooner?
If it had been Mrs. Wang, she would have been worse than the flood. I would probably have had to get up and cook her meals for her, while she sat in the middle of the mud and rocked back and forth, moaning about her ancestors who had sent the whole thing as revenge. Thank God for sending me just the flood without Mrs. Wang.
I'm glad you can laugh. Well, what else can we do? Oh, Belle, I'm sorry.
So am I.
I think the only thing we can say is God must have had a purpose.
Yes, I used to say that. I mean, believe it with my head, that's all. But the older I get, the longer I live in China, I believe it. Even losing the baby. I honestly think we'll see some sense to it someday. What does Fraser mean, pray about it? Read that part of his letter again, John.
That's what he says, Belle. It's really all he says. I have a problem that I would like you to be in prayer about. It concerns the Lisu tribespeople. The only Lisu churches are 6 days apart, and Mr. and Mrs. Allen Cook are finding the separation and travel required by that increasingly wearisome. Pray, friends, for added physical strength for the Cooks or some other solution.
Some other solution? Well, here we are, J.O. Fraser. Your other solution.
I don't understand, J.O.
Write him right back.
Yes, I think I have to.
Tell him that here in the Yumping Valley is an able-bodied couple who have no encumbrances, a healthy 2-year-old daughter who is old enough to move, and who would love to play in the Lisu Hills.
I don't see how he can help but see we're right at the right point in our lives to move there. It isn't as if we had a little baby.
That's what I mean. Oh, John.
God's purpose.
It must be. Fraser's got to see it that way.
Oh, you're working too hard for a sunny afternoon, Fraser. Did you know that old Chinese proverb, he who scrubs bamboo in bright sun will ache by midnight? What are you doing down there on your hands and knees, anyway?
Spilled some tea on this rug yesterday. Looks a frightful mess, wouldn't you say, Mort?
Tea's good for bamboo. Forget it. It's time for a rest break. There's an old Chinese proverb
Wish
that
I
says...
could scrub away all of my problems.
What's the trouble?
Sit down, Mort. I don't know why I should tell all my problems to a wealthy American and expect any understanding.
Well, if I can worry about the depression back home and what it's doing to my investments, worry about the Japanese sniping at the Chinese, I can take on a few of your worries, too. What's up?
The Lisu tribes again.
It's been your problem for a while.
It's rather more than usual. John and Isobel Kuhn.
They're a problem?
They have their hearts set on reassignment to Lisu land.
So, what's the problem? I thought you'd been waiting to slide somebody in there.
To be quite blunt about it, it's Isobel.
Doesn't she want to go? I thought back in my mind somewhere I had the idea that she felt originally called to the Lisu.
That's not it at all, don't you know? It's just that I wonder if she's really suited for that kind of life. She's had some real health problems. To be quite candid, I've been expecting right along she'd be brought down from Yuping on a stretcher.
But she wasn't.
No. Well, there were a couple of upsets that badly frightened her and John, but she got over them in good order. But if she's had all this trouble in adjusting to living with the Chinese peasants, well, Turner, the Lisu tribes people are really quite uncivilized.
Oh, it takes a while for the stomach to adjust, but after that,
It's more than food. It's everything. Housing especially. They live in nothing more than shanties. Clothes are rough hemp, hardly even dyed. Well, this young woman has no idea what she's asking for.
The husband's all right, isn't he?
John Kuhn ought to be right here in headquarters with me as my assistant.
Well, then he'll adjust to Lisu land.
What's that?
There's an old Chinese proverb, Fraser. Young man who get along well with missionary superintendent will get along
I'm
well...
not in the mood for your jokes. But thanks for hearing me out. Perhaps I will let the Kuhns go to Lisu land. I'll put them in charge of Oak Flat Village. Well, that's on the edge of the Lisus. Let John fan out from there on survey trips.
While Isobel stays back in the shanty and dyes hemp, to which she will continue to maintain firmly that God has called her.
Belle, down there, the Salween River.
Beautiful. Kathy, don't lean out so far. Sit back. Peek around the edge of your chair. You can see. That's better. That's a good girl. Beautiful, John.
Way up there is Oak Flat Village. See that knob-like thing jutting out? Oak Flat.
Not so flat.
We'll be there in no time. Come on, boys, let's climb.
I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, the Lisu land hills, the hills from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord who made heaven and earth. O Lord, here I am on the edge of Lisu land after all these years, and I never needed your help as much as I'm going to need it now. You learn fast, Homie. Yes, that's right. You let the water boil. When it bubbles like that, that's boiling. Now you put in the potatoes, one at a time.
Like so?
Not that one. It has to be peeled first.
Peeled?
Here, I'll show you. You take a knife and you take off the skin.
The sharp knife whips off potato coat.
Good thing my husband went off on a survey trip. Gives us a good chance to get the house organized. No, Kathy, not in your mouth.
Small daughter like coat of potato. Mama, you have no regret that I offer myself into your service?
We'd have been in a mess if you hadn't. Why, you fixed up the shanty so we're like kittens in a basket. Bamboo on the floor, hemp over my trunk.
Happiness. Mama, you have no regret I speak Lisu. I speak Chinese only badly.
I'll learn Lisu from you.
Happiness. You have no regret if I fasten name Mama to you?
Oh, May, I like it. You know, your Lisu word for woman is just like our American word for mother.
Ah, great happiness.
And what you call my husband, Mapa, is a little like our word for father.
Mama, should small daughter eat bamboo rug from floor?
Kathy!
So in 1934, 6 years after she arrived in China, Isobel Kuhn finally encountered the people of the Lisu tribes. They were illiterate. They had a religion that combined nature worship with demons, but they were cheerful, warm-hearted, and sensitive. From Oak Flat Village, John went off on survey trips. Belle stayed home and taught a Bible class that grew slowly as a few villagers left demon worship for Christ. And the Lisu girl, Ho Mei, moved in with the family and managed the domestic details. Then, in a short 16 months, it was time for the Kuhn's first furlough.
Look, right under that big cloud. Mount Rainier.
See, Kathy? That's the mountain near your mother's house. It's bigger than anything in Lisu land.
I like mountains. The land is all flat. It's all flat.
The flatland is where your father grew up, Kathy.
Oh, Pennsylvania isn't all that bad. You'll like Lancaster County, you two. Especially the food.
Have some more noodles yet? No, thanks, Mrs. Zimmer. I've quite enough. Leave me give you a bit of apple spritzen, yeah? No, I really couldn't. Eaten so much.
Apple spritzen?
Ach, she's good touch yet, like her pa. How goes it, little Katrinka?
That first furlough ended sometime in 1937. John, Isobel, and Kathy spent the first few weeks in British Columbia. The night before their sailing date, they packed the last things in their trunk and then went off to a farewell service at a nearby church. More than 200 people gathered to say goodbye. After the service, they hurried home with their minds on tomorrow.
We just got home in time.
I'll get it. Hello? Wilcox, you made good time home from the service. We just walked in ourselves. Yeah? What? I see. How long? No, I suppose you can't. Not more than a week? Oh, you think so? As bad as that? Yes, I've been aware of events. Yes, but I didn't think. Well, we'll just wait till we hear. Yes, I know you are. Belle's right here. Belle, we can't sail tomorrow.
Who was that?
Wilcox.
We just left him at the church.
Yeah, when he got home, there was a wire from Glover.
Mr. Glover? In the New York headquarters? Whatever.
War's broken out between Japan and China.
Oh, no. I didn't think they'd ever really...
Well, they did. All sailings are delayed.
They'll stop us from sailing?
Well, there's a war going on over there. And so we conclude Chapter 4 of Beautiful Upon the Mountains, the transcribed story of John and Isobel Kuhn. This is another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, produced by the Department of Broadcasting of the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.